Great stuff. Okay, so good evening to everyone. Just to introduce myself, my name's Dave Kneale, and I am one of three senior business development managers who look after the UK and Europe for Universal Parks and Resorts. Universal Parks and Resorts being our product in Orlando and our product in Hollywood as well. So we've got three parks in Orlando. We have 8 hotels that sit on site within the 3 parks. And we've got Universal Studios Universal Studios Hollywood, which is our theme park with movie studio over for those people visiting California and specifically being based in LA. We're in the Hollywood Hills there, right underneath the Hollywood sign itself. So I represent both. I'm going to talk a little bit about both tonight. I'm not going to go into massive detail, but hopefully be able to show you around both, especially Universal Orlando, because it's a bigger resort, and a bit of Universal Hollywood, a little bit about our hotels, the benefits of staying in a Universal hotel when you're down in Orlando, and just give you a bit of an overview. I haven't used any video because often video is too clunky and we wouldn't get the benefit of it. So there are loads of things you can do to go on to YouTube and have a look at anything specific that you see here today. You'll be able to have a little look and have a look at the Universal videos on those rides or hotels or whatever it is you're interested in. Firstly, and I hope I'm not teaching people to suck eggs here, but I just wanted to make just a bit of a show on the map really for Orlando. So when you fly into Orlando, most customers fly into the international airport, Orlando International, which is right in the center of the screen there. And then it's about 20 minutes, depending on traffic, west into the Universal Orlando Resort itself. What you can see from our location there is that we are not only a whole resort where it is with City Walk, our entertainment complex, so you've got plenty of options for eating and drinking, not only in the hotels, but also in and around the parks. But we're also located right on the doorstep of International Drive. So it's a real great location for those people who do want to enjoy all of the bars and restaurants and everything else that goes on International Drive. And also the shopping bags tell a story of the shopping malls and the premium outlet malls that you can go to as well. And these days with Uber, you're talking often $5 or $6 to get from any Universal hotel right onto iDrive, so into the shopping malls. So really good to do that. We're also quite close to SeaWorld for those people who are visiting SeaWorld as well. And then down below us, as you see there as number 5, is the land of Disney. And obviously Disney, much bigger setup than Universal in terms of their 6 parks and their many, many hotels. And it's, believe it or not, for those who don't know, Disney's spread over around about 47 square kilometers of land, which is absolutely massive. When you come up to Universal and you see our 3-park resort, as we call it, our 3-park destination, there is a big difference because everything you see on that map, as in 3 parks almost next door to each other and 8 hotels that run through the parks themselves on the outskirts of the parks, is all within 3 square miles. So with that in mind, when you stay in a Universal hotel, you are really, really on site. In many cases, you don't even have to do anything but walk into the park. There are various different methods of transport to get in from our hotels, and our hotels are easy to signify in terms of their star rating by looking at the left-hand side where you see Endless Summer Resort, Surfside and Dockside. They're our latest entry-level hotels, so we class that as a 3-star hotel. But as I was saying just before we started to the ladies and travel counsellors, you would never believe that these are 3-star hotels, and I'll show you some pictures later. And then we go through 3-star plus, and when you get to Sapphire Falls there, just almost in the middle of the screen, you're on the waterway, and that waterway is where the water taxis go up and down to City Walk and the entrance to the 2 main, what we'd call dry parks, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. So in the mornings, you've got mornings and evenings and all through the day till 2 o'clock in the morning, you've got shuttle buses running from your hotels into City Walk. You've also got the water taxis, and from many hotels, as I say, you can actually walk into the parks themselves. So it's really easy and accessible. And one of the great benefits, I think, is that when people go to Orlando, a lot of people go in multi-generational families, and therefore it means sometimes that you might all go in as a family together in the morning. But when people get tired, maybe grandparents get a little bit worn out, or younger children get a little bit tired, the great benefit is that you can be parked back to pool in 10 minutes. You can go back, get a water taxi, get a shuttle bus back, and be back in no time. But because the whole of Universal works on free Wi-Fi, the great thing is you can just keep in touch on Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever you want to do, and you can arrange to meet a little bit later on back up. So people can just come and go a little bit freer than you would if you were, say, staying in a villa and you drove into City Walk, you parked your car. You're kind of then at a situation where I think you're kind of committed for the day, and some people get tired, some people get irritable, and some people, you know, will run out of maybe run out of steam, and you're kind of there until everybody wants to go home. So that's the beauty of staying on site. Park to pool in 10 minutes is a big thing that we mention. What I'm going to do is come back and talk a little bit about the attractions and what you find in the parks, and a little bit back on the hotels later. Let me just say that simply for getting into our parks in Orlando, if you're traveling over to Universal, we only really have, I would really say we only have one ticket that we sell here in the UK. And that's really the one on the right, the 3-Park Explorer ticket, because we have a 2-Park Explorer ticket, but that excludes Volcano Bay, our water theme park. And, you know, some people say, well, I don't really want a water theme park anyway. I don't want to go to the water park, but it is quite spectacular, as we'll come on to later. And therefore, you know, if it's the same price, just book a 3-day ticket. It's 14 days of unlimited use in and out of Universal, all 3 parks. And the key thing is that it's the equivalent of a 2-day 3-park ticket in the US paid on the gate. So people often think I don't need a 14-day ticket because I'm probably going to go to Universal 4 or 5 days, but it is by far the best ticket to buy. It's around about £275 per adult, and slightly less for children, but it does cover 14 days unlimited for all 3 of these brilliant parks. So that's the ticket to purchase from travel counsellors before you depart the UK, for sure, for the best value for you. One of the things that the pandemic has done is brought forward some of our technology that we wouldn't have maybe got to for another 2 or 3 years. And key to being contactless in the parks these days is our app. We always had an app, and the app was really useful for park maps. You could see all of the queue times, or you can see all of the queue times for the rides, and you can navigate your way around the park accordingly to miss some of the bigger queues maybe at times. But because now with the pandemic and the park reopened, believe it or not, the park reopened as far back as June the 5th. So our parks have been open for a long period of time now, working on a lesser capacity to normal, but functioning all these things like the app, whereby you can do things like book. The key thing is you can now book ride times when you're in the park on the Wi-Fi. So as soon as you're in the park, you can have a look, and there'll be around about 5 or 6 rides per day where you can actually see the timetable, and you can book yourself a slot to go in later with your family, and then show the app when you get to the gate and go straight in. So again, you can save yourself a lot of time by doing that. Also, things like the parades. We have a daily parade. You know, Disney are well known for their parade. Not so many people realize that the characters at Universal do the same. You can find out things like parade times on the app, character meet and greets. So there's many of them during the day. You'll see all the characters out and about in the park to be able to do photo shoots. And on top of that, one thing we've got really great at Universal in recent times is nighttime shows as well. So we have our Universal Cinematic Celebration at Universal Studios, which is at the end of every evening along the lagoon. And it's a big sort of, if you've been to Las Vegas before, it's a big Bellagio style sound and light show on fountains. So we're projecting all of the characters of Universal, all the characters and people you've seen during the day at Universal, famous Universal pictures, movie scenes with fireworks and lasers in the background. And it's a fantastic spectacle at the end of the night. It's a bit of a thank you for coming and thank you for visiting us, and we'll see you again soon sort of show at the end of the day. So you can get all the timings on the app for these when you're in the park. So it's a great thing to have before anyone travels. Universal Studios on the right-hand side is all about Ride the Movies. It's also more about the whole entertainment empire that Universal is these days. We belong to NBC, the movie company, so the TV company. So you've got in here everything from walking through the gates. You'll see the Today Cafe, which is there. The United States as GMB, if you like, in the morning show. They've got a whole Today Cafe, which is like sitting on set. And then you walk in and you'll see down the road the Rockefeller Center, and you'll see Jimmy Fallon, a ride called Jimmy Fallon's Race Through New York, based on his Late Show program as well. So that's the NBC influence. But all around the park, you've You've got some of the famous roller coasters within there. You've got roller coasters built on movies like The Revenge of the Mummy, for example. You've got old classics like the Simpsons, E.T. still exists for those people who maybe went as a child and went on E.T. It's the only existing ride left at Universal that was there from day one. So that's still kept and preserved for everybody there as well. The Minions, Despicable Me, sit within the Universal empire as well as Shrek. So loads of things for the family and younger children. And the one thing about Universal Studios is that a lot of the rides are not so much roller coaster style. They're more like the 4D experiences where you're sat in a roller coaster type vehicle, but the projection is all around you. And so you could feel like you're flying or dropping or, whatever, but you're actually not moving too far, which means that all the family can enjoy it. The younger children, there's no major height restrictions. So I would say that any children that are 7 upwards of normal height will be fine on nearly everything within Universal Studios, with the exception of a couple of big roller coasters. Part of Universal and part of Universal Studios as well is at the back corner where you see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. But I'm going to come on to that separately because it's probably the biggest driver of people into Universal. So I'll keep that separate for a minute. Move across to Islands of Adventure, which is our next door, the park next door, which is a little bit more of all the characters that you see within this world built again around a main lagoon in the middle. They're all characters who started in print and have been brought to life into movies. So when you walk in, you see the land of Dr. Seuss. You'll see the Marvel superheroes as you go in with the Incredible Hulk roller coaster, the big green beast that you might have seen on social media or the clips around. The famous Spider-Man ride, which won Best Theme Park Ride in the World for 11 consecutive years. King Kong. You've also got things like Jurassic Park, where we've made big additions to the Jurassic Park area this year. You've also got at the back of there, through Jurassic Park into the second Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which I'll mention in a minute. So you've got all sorts of things within that land, a little bit more thrill-seeking as well. So loads for the children, but also loads for the adults who love the big roller coasters and the scary stuff as well, all sit within Islands of Adventure. We've got a third park, which is Volcano Bay, our water theme park, and I'm going to talk a bit about that separately. But that was built in 2017 and opened in 2017. So there's still many people who haven't been out to see Universal while Volcano Bay has been up and running, and that's a real spectacle in itself. So that's some of the things that you find in Universal in terms of our characters, because I think a lot of people know who the Disney characters are and various things like that, but not so much what sits within Universal. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is something else. Just to go back to the map here and explain, at the back of Universal Studios in the top right corner, as you look at it, is one section of Harry Potter, which is basically the London side of Harry Potter. So if anyone's familiar with the books and the movies, Harry Potter is the London side is Diagon Alley, where all the which is the image I just showed you there, where all of the wizards go and buy all of their equipment to take off to Hogwarts. You've got Gringotts Bank with the big dragon in the background. All of the fantastic shops. Ollivander's, the wand shop, where you can go in and experience a little show, which is just like the movie where the wand chooses the wizard rather than the other way around. You can buy Hogwarts school uniform. You can buy butterbeer. You can go into the Bank of Gringotts and enter the Escape from Gringotts ride, which is a really famous ride right down in the vaults of the bank. So it has absolutely everything. And these are, not just theme park rides. These are completely immersive lands. And that's what Universal is so good at, is you will see Harry Potter fans walking through the entrance of Diagon Alley, and some of them busting into tears because, they've grown up with Harry Potter. They love Harry Potter, love everything about it. And suddenly they're in Diagon Alley themselves and they can't quite believe it. So it's quite incredible to see. Again, going back to Disney, you see a lot of people going around with the Mickey and Minnie, the ears and everything like that. Here in Universal, you'll see loads of people walking around in full Hogwarts school uniform. It's quite incredible. Even in the height of summer where it's baking hot and they've still got everything on, you wouldn't believe it. Then just going back to the map there, what we have as well from Diagon Alley, you can walk into King's Cross Station, again, complete replica of everything you see in the movie, and go into King's Cross Station and take a 5-minute train ride on the Hogwarts Express across to Islands of Adventure. So with our 3-park ticket, you can go between the parks. The Hogwarts Express will take you there, and you can go straight there. When you get off the train, which I'll just go back in here, you're onto the Hogwarts Express on the platform 9 3/4. And when you come out, it's a real interactive experience on the train. So you're looking out the window and you're traveling to Hogwarts. You're not just looking out onto the park itself. It's really special. You get the full effects within the train. And when you get off, you're here in Hogsmeade Village with the snow-capped roofs. Buy yourself a butterbeer, pop into all the different little sweet shops and trinket shops, and head on up to Hogwarts Castle. When you're up in Hogwarts Castle, we've got the very famous Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey ride, which is really, really special. But you also get through the walk, a very interactive experience of walking through Hogwarts itself to get to the ride, which is incredible as well. So it really is a full interactive, immerse yourself in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. And if you do buy an interactive wand for yourself or your children, there are 28 points around the whole of the wizarding worlds of Harry Potter, where you can actually stand on a little gold platform. Within the wand that you buy, it's very interactive. You can point it at certain things, point it at the shop window. You can shape it in a certain way and create your own magic. So there's loads of things that happen like that as well to make that immersive thing really special for you. Another nighttime light show that happens every day at Universal is the nighttime lights at Hogwarts Castle, which is just a 5-minute show every 20 minutes, depicting all of the different houses, the 4 houses of Hogwarts themselves, fireworks, lights, the very famous music from Harry Potter, and also a few voices that you would recognize. And it's a beautiful, spectacular show that changes through the year. They have a special one at Christmas time. They have a special one at Halloween time called the Dark Arts, which is a bit more mysterious, and some of the deeper, darker characters of Harry Potter will appear. I think back to, because the last year's been a blur, I'm thinking back, this attraction opened in June 2019, so it's still very new to a lot of people. In typical Universal fashion, the land outside of Hogwarts, there was a big area of space, and Universal flattened the land and created the Forbidden Forest from Harry Potter. They brought in 1,200 live trees, planted them, and built an amazing set with a roller coaster running through it, which is based on Hagrid's motorbike and sidecar, as you can see there. So it's a roller coaster like no other. Please go and have a look on YouTube at the footage of this ride going around. It goes from 0 to 50 miles an hour in a very short space of time. It's one of them breathtaking rides, but it's still a family ride. You know, your child can sit in the sidecar or on the motorbike. You can swap around and have a different feel of flying. And it basically takes you, hearing Robbie Coltrane's voice as Hagrid, taking you out through the Forbidden Forest, meeting all the magical creatures, and then suddenly slowing down to see all the magical creatures, and then zooming off again up to 50 miles an hour, taking your breath away. You feel like it's going a lot faster even because of the nature of how low you are to the ground and how close you are to the trees as well. So it's just an unbelievable experience, and it's now just taken over as the #1 attraction within Islands of Adventure. And Harry Potter and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter always had some really great attractions, but this has really topped it off in there as well. There you can see them on the motorbikes with Hogwarts in the background. It's really spectacular, and it's spectacular by day and equally as different and spectacular at night time as well if you ride it. So that's something a little bit special that's there. We've also, during the pandemic, still been working on new attractions, this being the key one, which will open this summer. So there'll still be things that are new to go out and enjoy, called the Velocicoaster. So this obviously forms part of our Jurassic Park, Jurassic World experience there. Over the lagoon that you saw in the middle of Islands of Adventure, this runs right over the lagoon, barrel twists over it. It's Florida's now highest and tallest launch coaster. So everyone's always trying to create the biggest, the fastest, the tallest, and that's what we've done with this one. It's coming soon. It's basically the Velocicoaster is racing against the Velociraptors. They've escaped from their cages and they're off on the rampage, and you are off to try and track them down and get them back where they belong. So it's an amazing ride that has been developed over the last 3 years and is now coming to life this summer. So still things to enjoy there. Moving over to Volcano Bay, again, for a completely different day out. And this can be the most relaxing day in the world. So people think about, oh, the parks are going to wear us out. If you want a rest day, go to Volcano Bay for the day, because if you don't fancy riding some of the rides, you can just relax on one of the many beaches. This is themed by the same people who themed the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So what you see here is basically based on a South Pacific island. The 150-foot volcano in the middle is such a spectacle. And you can do everything within this park that can be as high adrenaline as you want or as low key as you want it to be. There's more multi-passenger rides. You can see a ride there, for example, really spectacular, not like you see in other water parks, some really big spectacular rides, but more multi-passenger rides than any other before. So if you're going with your friends or your family, you can do more together, which is really key. Like you see, really, really spectacular. So many different rides and slides. And one of the key things about Volcano Bay is it's quite unique. So when Volcano Bay was being put together, lots of questionnaires were done, lots of people were consulted, people were asked what they love about water parks traditionally, and people were asked what they don't like about water parks. And lots of them things were revolved around, queuing, being too busy, standing in the hot sun with an inflatable for 30 minutes while your skin burns to go down a 30-second ride. So it was like, what can we do to make this experience better? And that lady's wrist is the main thing that we did. It's called the Tapu Tapu in that South Pacific theme. And the Tapu Tapus are basically like Apple watches, obviously waterproof Apple watches that go around everyone's wrist. You get one when you arrive and you give it back when you leave. And it's basically something that helps, technology that helps us stop any queuing from happening in the park. So if I told you it's a water park without any queues, it sounds really odd. But the fact is that when you go to any ride or slide, you'll see like a totem pole style display outside the ride. And it will generally say ride now, which means that there's so few people on the ride that you can go and enjoy it. But when the people start to build up in those areas of the park, it might actually start to say, this ride now is a 10-minute wait or a 20-minute wait. So rather than wait in any queue, what you do is you push your screen on your Tapu Tapu watch against the display, and it projects the time of wait onto your Tapu Tapu. And then you've got a guaranteed place on that ride. You can come back in 20 minutes and you can scan yourself straight in. But in the meantime, you can go on another ride that is Ride Now, or you can go to the lazy river or the wave pool, and you can go back to your sunbed. You can do whatever, knowing that in 20 minutes time, that Tapu Tapu is going to vibrate on your wrist and it's going to say ride now. And at that point, anytime, not straight away, but anytime, you've got a place reserved on that ride to go and enjoy it. And it basically is just, it's not like an express or a fast pass. It's basically just seeing where the build-up of people in the parks are and trying to spread them around a little bit so everybody gets an even chance to enjoy themselves on many different things during the day. So that's the beauty of the Tapu Tapu. And also you can do all sorts, like if you use the app and visit a Universal Orlando app and put your card details onto it, you can pay for your food in there by tapping. You can pay for your lockers and get in and out of your lockers. There's loads of little fun things like this for the adults and the children, whereby someone will be going down the lazy river on a lilo, just enjoying their day, and then somebody on the bridge above them could put their Tapu Tapu on a little post like that, and it'll jet water all over them and soak them. So there's loads of mischievous little things like that in the park that you can enjoy with your Tapu Tapu. Photograph points you can use, and like I said, many multi-passenger rides and slides as well that you can enjoy with your friends. So it is the next level of water park, and it's been a fantastic addition from 2017. So now we've got these 3 spectacular parks all sitting next to each other in this area of Orlando, which is sat on International Drive, which just means you've got so much going on all around you. And like I say, it can be as relaxing or as busy as you like, but if you stay on site that you can be back in your hotel in 10 minutes time. And Volcano Bay itself has 3 hotels that literally have their own separate entrances and walkways into the park. So really, really nice and easy for everybody. Oh, and there's the big adrenaline rush from the top of the volcano to the bottom of the volcano in 4 seconds flat, if you're that way inclined. That's not for the faint-hearted, that one. So yeah, I don't know why you're smiling, to be honest. So that's the 3 parks, as you see there. And then, as I said, we've got these 8 hotels that stretch from left to right on the map, from basically from a 3-star entry level right the way across to the far side, where you've got Hard Rock Hotel and Lowe's Portofino Bay, which are the top end, what we call the premier premier hotels within our collection. So what we used to have is just those 2 hotels originally. And of course, not every person or family can afford to stay in those 5-star hotels. So over the years, we've now gone from 2,500 hotel rooms up to 10,000 hotel rooms on site, all of different categories, all of slightly different themes, but all offering different value for money. So it's now affordable to stay on site at Universal, more affordable than ever before, and more family units than ever before as well, which is important to note, in terms of big 2-bedroom apartments that join with each other, things like that. I just wanted to run through a few slides just to show you just how the hotels look without talking too much about them. Starting from the very top end of Lowe's Portofino Bay, modelled on Portofino in Italy. That was Steven Spielberg's idea, who's an executive director at Universal. He went on holiday to Portofino in Italy. He loved it. He thought, could we replicate a hotel on site? And so you could be in the parks all day enjoying Orlando, but in the evening, there's no visuals of the park from this hotel. It's very, very close. It's only 10 minutes away. On the water taxi, but you would never know you were in Orlando when you went back to the Mediterranean in the evening, enjoyed the 3 pools, fantastic service all around. You could sit in lovely cafe bars and restaurants and ice cream parlors on the harbour there. They have an opera singer in the evening time serenading the sunset. And for the families, in these our hotels, we always have family suites, but as you can see from the picture there, the family suites in the Portofino Bay are the Despicable Me Minion suite. So you've got the parents in a room like the top one there, and a little adjoining door into the specially made Minion suite. So if your children are really into Despicable Me and the Minions, that's a great place to stay. Hard Rock Hotel is the most popular Hard Rock hotel in the world. So funky, not a quiet holiday in this hotel. There'll always be a DJ playing or a band playing around the pool. Even under the water in the swimming pool, you've got you can hear the music that's being played even under the water. You've got a club suite on floor 7 to sort of what we call the rock royalty level. You've got family suites that are based on future rock star suites. So the family suites, again, just like the one you've just seen, the adjoining room for the children is actually like a karaoke stage with big musical background, as if your children are singing at a festival, for example. And yeah, really funky. Just made out like a proper rock star's mansion to stay in, and a 5-minute walk to the entrance of Universal Studios through the gardens. That's the closest hotel that we have. And Royal Pacific Hotel, which again is only 5 minutes in the other direction from City Walk and the entrance to the parks, has its own beach outside. It's a beautiful feel, like Polynesian style. We've done a lot of renovation to it, even though it really looked like it didn't need it. Just in 2019 into 2020, with a whole new lobby area, a new lobby bar, chandeliers and everything. But you really do feel like you could be a little bit in the South Pacific here, a little bit Balinese in places, but a lovely family pool as well, with great places and shallow areas to play for the children in there as well. Next door to that, the other one on the waterway, the other hotel. This is the 4 hotels now on the waterway with the water taxis, is our final 4-star hotel, which is Lowe's Sapphire Falls. Caribbean theme, fantastic rum bars, beautiful place called Strongwater Tavern that's located in there. Really perfect for all ages. The biggest pool that Universal have as well within there. High Tech Aventura, 3-star plus. Rooftop bar, that's the significance of this one. It's a more techie hotel with iPads in your rooms, and you can control everything from there. It's very futuristic. This rooftop bar called Bar 17 Bistro, it's the only rooftop bar we have, 17th floor, looking out 360 over International Drive and all of the parks. You can see every spectacle from the top of that roof. You can even see down as far as Disney and Epcot in the distance. The views are so spectacular. And that's open every evening up there with a DJ playing in the weekends and stuff like that. Really cool. Get your snacks and drinks from up there. Cabana Bay, one of our biggest, our biggest hotel of all, based on a very retro 50s and 60s style hotels. Water slides. I mean, all action for the children. Loads of things to do. Bowling alleys, water slides, lazy rivers, all around it. It backs onto Volcano Bay. So you can literally walk into Volcano Bay from Cabana Bay as well. Loads of little food outlets and quick serve dining to grab something in the morning, grab a Starbucks or a quick bite to eat and head into the parks for the day. You'll hear, because of the 50s and 60s style, you'll see vintage cars parked outside. You'll hear rock and roll type music all the way through, piped through the areas. So yeah, that's again, something a little bit different. Loads of 2-bedroom family suites in here as well, which these are 2-bedroomed rooms that have 2 queen beds, a pullover area there where you can separate with its own TV in the front room with a full double sofa bed to pull out, and these all interlink as well. So if you've got some big families, you can interlink these and have some big groups in Cabana Bay, which is really, really good. And then finally, just Surfside and Dockside, which were the 2 hotels on the left of the map that I showed you. The great thing about these is that these are entry level. So this is the best price you'll get in any Universal hotel, but brand spanking new. Surfside on the left-hand side, you can see by the surfboard-shaped pool with 750 rooms and just over 2,000 rooms in the 2 blocks of Dockside on the right-hand side. This is, if you went to Orlando years ago, you might remember Wet n Wild, the water park. And this is Wet n Wild. This is where it was. That's the lake at Wet n Wild. Dockside on the right is the is what was the car park, and on the left hand side, Surfside is what was the water park itself. So if you knew that information, then you'd know that it sits on Universal Boulevard. So the road running up the middle is taking you to City Walk in about 3 minutes on the shuttle bus, and the road that runs across the top of it is International Drive itself. So this is our first hotel that's located on International Drive, but still gives you all the benefits of staying in a Universal hotel. Those things that you get included with a Universal hotel is that wherever you stay, you get early park admission. So by staying in our hotels, you get to get into the parks 1 hour before the general public are allowed through the gates, which is massive if you're going in the summer holidays or busy times like Easter or Christmas. Because you can get yourself to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, for example, before it really gets much busier during the day. So staying on site in any of our hotels means that you get that early park admission. And if you think back to the first 3 hotels I showed you, which were Hard Rock Hotel, Portofino Bay, and Royal Pacific, those 3 being our premier end hotels, our top end hotels, one of the perks that you get there extra is that you actually get an express pass included when you stay there. So that means that you can join the express queue, which is obviously a lot less people in it than the main queues, and you can do Universal in half the time every day. So it's a real great sort of plus that you get that included in the top 3 level hotels as well. So some great sort of selling points. But just back to Endless Summer, and just to show you, we were talking about 3-star, and these prices for these rooms, which we have queen rooms, just the 2 queen beds, like a standard room, but these ones are slightly bigger. They've got their own separate bedroom that you can see there just around the back, so you can actually sleep 6 people, and the room rate's around about $110 per night for the room. So when you think it's on iDrive, you've got all the Universal benefits and you can fit 6 people into a room. It's so inexpensive to stay in such a lovely accommodation. Dockside opened just earlier this year. It was delayed because of the pandemic, but it was ready to open, but we couldn't open it. And again, just looking, and Surfside's the same as this. The public areas are absolutely beautiful. You walk into this hotel and you would never believe it was 3-star and the price it was. And that's the beauty. And I think because of that, we're taking business, not only people who thought about Disney and thought maybe it's a little bit expensive, I'm going to try Universal. This is so much cheaper. And also, I think some of the iDrive people who might have stayed in iDrive hotels are now looking at this and thinking, well, I'm still on iDrive. I've got Universal early park admission, and I've got all of this lovely quality. And again, you see the theme of the rooms, lovely big swimming pools, 2-bedroom suites, as well as standard rooms in here. So many big family units. So that was a bit of a run through of the hotels and the parks in Orlando. Just to finish on a couple of slides of Universal Studios Hollywood. For those people who may be thinking about going to the West Coast next year, looking at anyone who's in LA, we try and target to come and visit us at Universal Studios Hollywood, because it is the world's largest movie studio and theme park together. We take all of the best bits from what you've just seen at Universal, and we merge them together in this one park. which is actually built on 2 levels, as it's built into the, I say, into the Hollywood Hills. It's got an upper lot and a lower lot. And on the right-hand side, as you can see, you've got the studio tour as well. All that land there is a very famous studio tour. So you can see from looking at the map, there's a few different things, but you have still got like things like the Minions. You've got the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, just the Scottish side and not the Hogwarts Express. So just the Hogsmeade and Hogwarts Castle and everything there. Not Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Revenge of the Mummy, Jurassic World, which was enhanced last year as well. But you've also got a few other things, like, for example, Waterworld. If anyone remembers the movie Waterworld from so many years ago with Kevin Costner, you don't hear much about that anymore. But that attraction has stayed because it's a real-life stunt show on water. And it's quite a spectacle in a big arena. Over the water, real stunt actors, fire, lights, action, there's all sorts of stuff. And it's so well liked that it's been kept there as one of the big movie theme things. We've also got a few new attractions, which I'll come on to in a minute. But on the right, the studio tour is fantastic. It's a 45 to 50 minute studio tour there, where you get into one of these little, what they call the trolleys, like a little mini bus. And you'll be escorted around by Jimmy Fallon, who does the voiceover for the tour. And you've got all sorts of things from, you'll see all the different props and some of the famous movie sets. For those people, like I mentioned E.T. before, for the old schoolers who really like things like Jaws and missed the fact that Jaws was taken out of Universal Studios in Orlando years ago, then the Jaws, the traditional original Jaws ride still sits here at Universal Studios itself. So you see that on the movie tour. You get to see, for any Desperate Housewives fans, for example, it's a bit random, but Wisteria Lane is still there in full situ. You can go down and you turn a corner and suddenly you're on the War of the World sets, and there's a big plane crash scene from that movie, which with debris everywhere in the houses, and it's incredible. And you literally drive through the middle of this amazing scene. And then you get to visit 2 of the rides that feature at Universal as part of the studio tour. You drive through the King Kong 3D, and you also get to go through Fast and Furious Supercharged, the franchise ride that sits there as well. So about a 45, 50 minute, very special part of Universal. It doesn't cost any more. It's part of the admission ticket, but it's a really great thing to do while you're there. That I don't think anyone walks through the door without doing the movie tour. As I say, Jurassic World was enhanced last year with a fantastic river adventure ride that we have at Orlando, but this was brought up to the next level. So we moved from being Jurassic Park into the new Jurassic World franchise with some brilliant new rides there. And really great for all the family is Secret Life of Pets, which again is special to Hollywood. It was coming in 2020. Of course, it couldn't open. So this summer, when we reopen at Universal Hollywood, Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash, the very interactive attraction and ride comes to life. But also, you've also got the whole of the area of New York where it was set. It's all completely, again, immersive. You can walk down the whole streets and see the flat where it all happened and meet all the pets and everything. So that's coming this year, later on this year as well. And it kind of gives you a bit of a view of the difference between the parks. Hollywood, we've got the one park with its movie tour, and in Orlando, we've got an all-encompassing resort with the 8 hotels and the three parks and all the advantages of staying on site. There's quite a lot to take in. I tried to give you the key bits of information. You could probably talk for hours on Universal. Well, I know I could, but I just thought, well, I'll keep it to that. Like I say, videos, please have a look on YouTube. Anything you've seen there that you want to see, you'll find videos on everything to do with Universal. So if you want to see these things brought to life on video, have a little look. Just thought I'd open it up to any questions, really. That was okay.
That was absolutely amazing. I really want to go back.
Okay.
Me too.
Me too. I'm usually out there about 5 times a year, and yeah, so suddenly we don't go. It's very strange, yeah, really strange, but yeah. Was there anything that you thought that you wanted to ask? I don't know whether.
One thing I'll ask, actually, because I don't think we've got that before we go to there is, if anyone's got any questions, they can unmute themselves and ask, or you can put a question in the chat box at the bottom of the screen if you're not brave enough to speak out loud. But there are a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you, Dave. You didn't talk about the City Walk, and people that haven't been before might not know what City Walk is.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So City Walk there, where you see the entrance to Universal Studios and to Islands of Adventure. City Walk's like our entertainment complex, really. So it's open from sort of you'll see things open in the morning, but it comes to life at lunchtime. Varieties of different restaurants, some within the setup of Universal, things like NBC Sports Grill and Brew, a really big sort of like sport. I mean, it's those people who've been will know it comes to life in the evening when it all lights up and it's on the waterway, really spectacular. But yeah, basically an areas for eating, drinking, snacking. There's nightclubs there that are open till 2 in the morning. So the last water taxis back to the hotels and buses out at 2 o'clock in the morning as well when all that finishes. And it's basically the central hub to everything at Universal, really. And you can pop out for some lunch in some of your favourite restaurants. Bubba Gump's is there, very special Italian restaurants, new things like Cowfish, which is a mixture of burger and sushi, which sounds really weird, but that's a very famous one. And if you see any pictures and you're looking up anything at City Walk later, have a little look at the Toothsome Chocolate Emporium.
Oh my God, I've had the milkshakes there.
So you will see
stunning.
I really want to try Cowfish, though. That appeals to me.
But Margaritaville's another one. We can enjoy cocktails and enjoy food. But Toothsome Chocolate Emporium, if you have a look at that at Universal City Walk, you'll see the most spectacular Willy Wonka's chocolate factory style building. They make the most incredible chocolates, desserts, milkshakes. So I suppose a bit like the Cheesecake Factory, whereby you've got all these amazing desserts. How on earth you're supposed to eat some of these desserts after you've eaten a meal, the size of the meals in Orlando as well. But you just have to walk it off the next day, really, I think. But yeah, really spectacular buildings there to see, but it is the central hub of everything. Everything connects through City Walk. So if you're not staying in a Universal hotel and you drive to the park for the day, you would park in the car park and come through on the Travelators. The first thing you'll see is you'll enter into City Walk, and then you'll walk through to the entrances of the park. So yeah. And
I suggest anybody that hasn't heard of Blue Man Group, have a look at Blue Man Group on YouTube as well, because they're amazing. I so want to go and see them. They look fantastic.
Yeah, I've never seen Blue Man Group either, actually.
Yeah, they look absolutely awesome.
Crazy. Also, all part of like lots of things that there at City Walk that just form part of the whole experience, really. But I'd say, especially at night time, if you have a look at any videos as well, City Walk, have a look at City Walk by night and see how beautiful it is. It really is amazing. Really looks great.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else I missed, or anything else that?
Yeah, one thing I was going to ask is, with the Hogwarts Express, am I right in thinking that you have to have a park-to-park ticket to ride that? Yeah,
you do have to have a park-to-park ticket. Although the only ticket we sell to the UK is a park-to-park ticket anywhere. So you'd be buying that 3-park Explorer ticket, which gets you into all 3 parks. So yeah, so
I was thinking more of, you can't just turn up if you decided you were on holiday in Orlando and you wanted to go into the park for the day. You would need an Explorer. Yeah. Because so if you're in Universal Studios, you could do anything you wanted to, but as soon as you got to the Hogwarts Express station or to the King's Cross station, you wouldn't be able to enter through with that ticket. They wouldn't let you on. Yeah. Cool. So
cool. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Anybody else got any questions? Helen, got a question?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you, Dave. Sorry, I was off camera. We were eating our tea. But we were watching.
Hope I entertained you. Was I better than the 6 o'clock news?
Yeah, much better. We are tentatively thinking of booking for next summer. Basically because I've got 2 teenagers who will both be doing exams next year. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to leave kind of early July rather than into the summer holidays. But I mean, this might be a question more for the chapel counsellors, but kind of flexibility on tickets and prices on rough idea of prices for flights as well would be really, really useful, because we were hoping to do like almost like 2-center, do Universal, a bit of Disney, but then also go to the East Coast and have a bit of a chill by the beach as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I represent the theme parks really more than so the flights. I mean, I think the Travel Council are probably better able to say what's going on. We keep a little bit of an eye on it, but yeah, I'm not so sure. Next year, you said as well, 2022, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, well, we can have a chat about that on Monday, Helen, and have a look at the prices that are currently for this year, obviously, because next year's aren't out yet.
Yeah.
But there are out of date range flights available, so I can look at the prices of those and see how they're looking. Haven't looked yet, and have a chat about.
I know it's selling
you fancy staying.
Yeah, I know it's selling well for 2022. You know, now what we're seeing most of the time is more, you know, way more, as you'd expect, more 2022 bookings than 2021 for the people that we work with. That's what we're getting back. So,
but the tickets are flexible, Dave, aren't they? So the theme park tickets are flexible.
Yeah, the ticket. I mean, basically now, if you were buying a ticket in the UK for next year, then the price would be the price. It wouldn't change. When we've had problems this year where people haven't been able to have the holiday they wanted, we've let them extend their ticket into next year. So that's what we do as a business. You know, it's an unused ticket. It can't be taken. The holiday's been cancelled due to something like COVID. We've just extended those tickets for another year. So the people in 2021 who bought a ticket and can't go will be able to use it in 2022, and it would be like that in future years as well, should anything continue, which we hope not.
Oh God, we hope not.
And the hotels on site as well. I mean, do the prices go up enormously in the summer holidays?
No, actually, do you know what? The best tip that I have for our hotels in the summer holidays is that because the American holidays are earlier, so the American holidays are in June into July.
Oh, right.
What you'll find is that most Brits who look to book tend to go in that second half of August, so near the end of the school holidays, because all the American children are back in school. And that is actually, I think from what I've seen, we price our hotels on about 8 different seasons through the year. And I think that from the 14th or 15th of April through in August through into September, I think is the second cheapest price of the whole year. Which a lot of people realise, you know, thinking the summer's just naturally going to be really expensive, but it's not as expensive as other times of the year. So I'll definitely say that latter half of August is the time to look at first before you look at anything else. Yeah.
Well, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
It does balance itself out though with the flights, because obviously anything coming from the UK in the summer holidays is going to be more expensive because that's the way the airlines do it.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, very exciting. Thank you.
Good luck with it. Yeah, no, enjoy. There's going to be plenty. I mean, there'll be even more by 2022. There'll be even more open, so even more reason to go.
Definitely. Anybody else got any other questions?
Great. Well, it's been nice to be able to speak to you. We'll just give you a bit of insight, and obviously, you guys at Travel Councils have got my email address. So if anything happens afterwards, and there's any later questions, and you need some answers to them, just drop me an email.
Will do. Thank you, Dave.
Great.
Thank you.
You're all welcome.
Everybody,
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, cheers,
Bye.
Dave. Thank you. Bye.